Hey guys, this is Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and we are back with another Danmachi season 4 episode review for you guys, which we're going to be talking about episodes 6 and 7, I believe. Yeah, no, episode 5 and 6. Because I missed last week's episode because I was kind of busy my last week, but last week, episode 5. A really good episode, really good eventful episode right there. One, we see the Haruhime spell of the nine-tailed fox pretty much, and it goes to show you like how much like, oh crap, how strong this magic spell is to increase, her allies pretty much in the vicinity. And I loved it how Aisha was like telling the other adventurers like, you better not tell anybody, I swear about this. But that was it was a cool, visually stunning scene. And then obviously the Moss Huge shows up, and then it looks like things are going right, and then like I said, the Moss Huge shows up, things go off the deep end and they go crazy. And it's crazy to see that this monster was very intelligent, and the fact that still it was getting all these magic crystals and it was eating them. And it's like by the time Aisha and the others realized that like it was already too late. And it literally transformed to a whole nother creature. So my goodness, you have to wonder if this Moss Huge was, if this was like a, before he transformed again, if maybe he was actually a smaller little creature that, guess what, wasn't really much of an issue. And by eating the magic crystals, it just leveled up and gained strength and smart, and got smarter. The fact that, oh, if I eat these magic crystals from these monsters, I actually can get stronger. And it had a whole new transformation. And by this time, our party was wrecked. The party was wrecked. Like, Aisha goes up against this thing and she almost dang near dies. Like, I thought she was gonna get her arm taken off and she was gonna die because it was that bad. But obviously Belle showed up, and with his last battle with the very fast speeding birds, we know Belle. He is a character that has this ability which makes him level up faster. And just to see the fight last week he had against the Moss Huge, or the transformed Moss Huge, that was an amazing, visually stunning fight. Well, Danmachi, like I said, it's really good, and I love the fight scenes when they put focus on it, and that was a good moment, very good moment. I definitely enjoyed that. And again, I also did like the whole fact of the Lily thing, which was actually brought up in this week's episode a little bit too. Was just from the standpoint of the fact that Lily was told like, hey, if we're put in a dicey situation, you're pretty much the lead strategist. You might have to make a tough decision. You might have to make the call that pretty much will risk people's lives. And I like it how it was within her character, not to do that, not to say, okay, for the people that are going to be coming to try to get to the surface, retreat with me, because that's what we're going to do. I like how she said, and she tied it to Belle, and she's like, listen, if we're going down with a fight pretty much. I'm not going to sacrifice anybody because that's not what Master Belle would do. And guess what? I'm not going to do that because I'm his supporter. And I definitely did like that, which actually increased the morale of everybody. Continuing to fight even in this tense situation. Then obviously had Belle come in with the typical heroics, save. But last week's episode was really good. I definitely did enjoy last week's episode, and again, it goes to show you that Belle level 4 is crazy strong, man, crazy strong. So yeah, I apologize for not getting that video out any sooner, but hey, might as well do a double episode upload for you guys here. So episode 6, we get the new alias of Belle called Rabbit's Foot, and that whole scene was absolutely hilarious because on the surface world, pretty much all the gods are meeting and everything, and they're pretty much coming up with like a name, this new alias for Belle to name him. And pretty much it's just like the gods just naming Belle out of a personal reason why they would name him, just as maybe either their own personal, for their own personal gain, or just for some, like, one god's like, well, he's into freaking humans, apparently monsters too, and even gods. Oh, he should be I forgot what it was. It was like omni something, omnisexuous. Like he it doesn't matter what sex it is or what creature it is. He's willing to hook up with anything. Um, it's funny. I think my favorite one had to be Freya's, because her thing was pretty much saying like, I want his new Alias to be Freya's husband, pretty much. Which is absolutely funny because we know Freya has had an interest in Belle, and it's been quite a while since we've seen Freya. Now, personally, if you ask me, I don't know how you could not turn that down. Who would not want to be Freya's husband, especially if you're impressing her like this? That's a freaking, my goodness, you could freaking have the world with Freya. Listen, I like Hestia, but honestly, if it was me, I'm a man of culture. I'd probably be like, Freya can be my new goddess, pretty much. Or shit, if I have to live in another familia and I would hook up with Freya, I'd do the same thing. Freya's hot, bro. I don't know. I'm still interested to see where her character's going, because again, I feel like she could be some sort of mastermind that could affect the plot going forward, especially if we do get a full adaptation, which Danmachi typically does good. I won't be shocked if this season we get a season 5 announcement or something like that a few weeks or months down the road, because people like it. And technically, if we're talking about HI Dive animes, it's like probably the one thing that people will get a subscription for HI Dive for. So I think they're going to continue doing Danmachi for a very long time. But I'm very interested to see what Freya's whole deal is. Again, I love the whole banter between Freya and Hestia, because we know Freya definitely knows that it gets under Hestia's skin, especially when she brings up Belle. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Freya has something more important for Belle. We already know she's trying to do whatever she can to get Belle to leave Hestia's familia and join her familia. So we'll see where that goes. But that whole scene was funny, but it came down to the point that they named him Rabbit's Foot. They also gave Welf a new name, which Hestia did appreciate, because that was the one thing she was worried about. She's like, I just hope freaking Belle and Welf get good names, good aliases. And yeah, but this episode was, for the most part, it was kind of fillery-ish. It was just Belle going around pretty much, because now their expedition is pretty much over. It's Belle just going around to the other members of the expedition team, pretty much just catching up with them and things like that. The two party members he saved, they pretty much thank Belle for what he did, and they pretty much say, oh yeah, we owe you one, so if you need a call, if you need help, just give us a call and we'll be able to help you. I know the dwarves said that, and the elf people said it. We promise we'll repay you, and you're gonna be like an ally to our clan. So hey, he made more friends in the process. We also do find out that the individuals of those two representative parties that pretty much lost limbs, they'll just head back up to the surface and just get prosthetic limbs from their familia, so they can be good and everything, which makes sense. I do like the fact that Belle does feel a little bit bad for them about that, because they got very badly injured and they lost limbs pretty much, so I don't blame them. But this episode is pretty much, like I said, it's kind of a fillery-ish episode. It felt like that to me, with Belle just going across all the other characters, with pretty much us being left on the cliffhanger, the fact that apparently Ryu is a murderer now. But the one thing about this episode I did like is the fact that every twist and turn, Lily's trying to hang out with Belle for like the day, pretty much, I guess you can say on a date or something. But all the other party members pretty much, you can say, takes Belle away from her, and she doesn't, so she pretty much hangs out with everybody. So yeah, and Lily's like, oh, I wanted to tell him that, but now that's the whole thing, and she ends up finding out the whole Rabbit's Foot Alias thing. Yeah, and at first she was like, I'm gonna be the first person to tell and everything, but then Welf and Aisha drag Belle away, and they're pretty much drinking and stuff like that. Some guy in the bar blurts it out, and it's funny because Aisha just gets all over him because she's just drunk. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you something tonight that you won't forget." Pretty much. I'm just like, yeah, this guy's got all these women all over him. If it wasn't bad before, it's gonna be crazy now because this dude's gonna have a bunch of women all over him. Lily manages to get him out of the situation, but she pretty much, in a way, they have a little talk and they pretty much have a discussion to where the fact that she she appreciates Belle for being the same character or the same person he's always been since they first met. Belle tries to ask like, "Hey, what did you actually say?" They brought it up what you apparently told him to boost her morale, and she apparently is keeping it to herself because I think would get too flustered about that. So that's the funny thing. Apparently they talked all morning long, and then all of a sudden we get a scene where it looked like this one adventurer was being killed by Ryu. And the next day they're walking, Belle and Lily are walking, they're like, "Hey, yeah, this Ryu's Alias, Alias name, pretty much, I forgot what it was, but they pretty much say, yeah, Ryu, she is killing people and she's a murderer, and now there's a bounty on her head." Now Lily and Belle are pretty much shocked that this is happening. Like, wait, they're not talking about who I think they are, who I think she's talking about, or they're talking about. And Belle and Lily look, especially Belle, looks like in utter shock that Ryu could be a murderer. Now, we don't know why she's doing this. This could be maybe for, I don't know, reasons. Typically, we know Ryu's an elf, typically, especially with these fantasy worlds. Typically when you have other races, especially elf races in these fantasy shows, sometimes elf races can be seen or used as, I guess you can say slaves or something like that. Maybe that's a reason. Maybe this guy or this group Rio's after is using her race as slaves and doing all this maybe stuff that is illegal in the Danmachi world, and she's trying to stop the end goal, but it looks on the outside she's doing something bad and she's killing people off. Maybe they could go that storyline. I don't know what's happening. We did actually cut back to the surface world, the one bar with the one girl, the one silver-haired girl. She looks kind of distressed and she's wondering why Ryu is gone. And the only thing is Ryu left a note. Now the note doesn't, or the episode doesn't explain what Ryu wrote in that note, so it'll only be a matter of time before that's actually like explained. But it seems like we're in this next, I guess, the back half of this arc, the back half of the story for this season, that will more than likely end out this arc. So it's gonna be very interesting to see where this is gonna go. I don't think Ryu is gonna be a villain. I think this is leading up to a much bigger bad for this season. But I'd be absolutely shocked if Ryu is a big bad, but I don't think that's the thing. I think there's something else going on here. Like I said, it could be a typical, fantasy thing, unless it's something more complex than that. Don't know. Maybe somebody told Ryu do this, otherwise something else happened. But it's gonna be very interesting to find out what the explanation is for all this situation. And yeah, but anyways, Belle's got his new name. Well, it seems like Ryu is on the hunt and he's killing people. But anyways, guys, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of Danmachi season 4, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Danmachi content, as well as when you do hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the notification bell icon so you're up to date with whatever I upload to the channel. So yeah, anyways, guys, catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, peace.